Gentlemen, join us. Where's the, there we go.
Thank you. We have a meeting?
Yeah, you know, we're all here. Agenda's been posted and everything.
Okay.
No, something about the Packers, I don't know. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the special meeting of the Liquor Control Commission for September 17th. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Simpson, roll call, please.
Commissioner, just a second. Commissioner Lang?
I'm here.
Commissioner Kruger?
Present.
Commissioner Vito?
Here.
Commissioner Papantos?
Present.
Commissioner Brady?
Here.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Chairperson Horker?
Here. You have before you the minutes of the special meeting of August 20th, 2018. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Papantos, second.
I'll second.
Trustee Ray Lang, roll call, please.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Abstain.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes, citizens' concerns.
There are none.
Thank you, Clerk Simpson.
And Brady abstain.
New business.
Okay, I have to, okay.
Okay.
Consideration of a request for a Class 1 liquor license from Clearbrook for an event to be held on November 3rd, 2018.
Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. In addition to the information that the title provides, I would just like to add that this event is being held at the Westin, and although they have their own liquor license, this event is being held by a third party, and therefore a separate special event liquor license is required because the applicant needs a state event license to receive alcoholic beverage inventory from a distributor. I believe we have someone in the audience who can answer questions. The distributor is, who's the distributor? I'm blanking.
Liquor Barn.
Liquor Barn. Thank you.
Good evening. So actually, the distributors are any distributor that's going to be providing product to the event. So in order to get a special event nonprofit license, we need to go ahead and apply for this local license for the state because they won't issue a nonprofit license.
The event is Monday, September 17th at the Westin. The event is being held by Clearbrook.
Correction, the event is November 3rd.
No, it's there you go.
I'm sorry. You're right. It's not my day.
Questions from the board? Trustee Commissioner Papantos.
One question. Who will be serving?
So we have a team of BASA-trained ambassadors that every company providing a server, they provide their BASA card to the Westin as well.
Okay, so it's not Clearbrook.
No, it's they're outside agencies that they hire.
That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one other.
Commissioner
This
Lang.
is very similar to what you've run in the past, I think.
Yeah, this is
3 or 4
actually
years now.
This is the 6th year, and last year we donated over 20,000 to charity. This year we're hoping for around 30.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
And what is the date of your event?
November 3rd.
Thank you, sir. No other questions? I'd be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Vogel.
Second.
Didn't see. Trustee Brady, Commissioner Brady. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item B.
Yes, ma'am.
Consideration of a request for a Class B liquor license from Confessions
Coffeessions.
LLC. I'm sorry, look what they have here. Coffeessions.
Okay.
Stop me. Coffeessions, LLC.
Coffeessions. Do we have a representative? Hi, come on up. Mr. Svandelis, you want to tell us about this?
Thank you. As the title indicates, Coffeessions is a coffee house located, will be a coffee house located at 820 Wheeling Road. In addition to being primarily a coffee house, they are looking for a liquor license to extend their business, focusing mostly on wine, but may also include beer and cocktails. The petitioner obviously is here before you. There are 5 conditions should the commission wish to approve. And of course, should this move forward, the authorization of an additional license will be before the board in the following meeting.
Commissioner Papantos.
Thank you. What are your hours of operation?
It will be from 6:30 to 9.
Okay, our liquor license does not start till 7 a.m., so how are you going to assure me that you will not be serving between 6:30 and 7 a.m.?
There will be internal policy among the team that we won't serve before noon, that alcohol. Before that, we will have coffee and light meals, but that will be, the wine bar will concentrate on the evening mainly, but opening from midday.
So what time are you going to start serving alcohol?
Midday.
Noon.
And it won't be accessible for anybody to say, oh, come on, I'm here?
Before that,
Right.
it won't be accessible.
Okay. You're going to have us an app that will allow someone to pre-order, and then they drive up in their car and somebody brings out their coffee or whatever, correct?
But the alcohol is not part of that app.
Okay, I
In
just
the
want to
menu.
make sure
Yeah.
that we don't have car service
Nope,
running out.
I know the regulation, so.
Okay. Our ordinance for the particular type of license that you want, it requires seating for 30, not including bar stools. So how do you have 30? Because from your plans, I could not count 30 seats.
There's actually 35 seats, and so that was work with the architect and with the space that we have available to make sure that we comply with the law. So that was based on space and regulation of amount of people seating.
Are you counting counter seat as part of your seating?
Yes. There will be at the bar there will be a counter where people will sit, and by the window there will be kind of looking outward a bench for people to work on Wi-Fi and things like that are included as well.
And what is the tasting bar? Are you doing wine tastings or?
Yeah, so I educated myself at Michigan State, which is we had, in my time, there was a enology lab that led to how popular the wine is in the state. Some of the folks working at the time, now they own wineries, and so I've been in conversation with them to have, showcase the wine of the region, and we will have wine tasting as part of the package, and some other things like touring their places eventually.
So most of the wine is going to be local wineries or somewhat local?
We would like to showcase Midwest, U.S. Midwest wines. Not only Michigan. Michigan right now has probably the strongest wine industry, but that doesn't mean that we won't have Wisconsin wine and Illinois wine, and why not Indiana?
Percentage-wise, how much of your revenue do you expect from alcohol versus food and coffee?
I'm hoping that those three will split the whole, those income streams, meaning specialty coffee and healthy food and wine. I don't have like exact distribution, but I'm hoping that between coffee and wine we'll have the main activity. And so I would say 35, 35, 30 or so.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Vito?
I have a procedural question for Attorney Ferrolo.
Yes.
Is there a reason we always do the liquor license before the special use? It just seems like it's cart before the horse, and last week it kind of bit us. Now we have a petitioner out there with a liquor license with nowhere to go with it, and I don't anticipate it here, but I just think maybe we should reverse that.
Practically speaking, we don't have to do it in this order. We could reverse it, in my opinion. Customarily, we've done it this way, and it's, other than the issue we ran into recently, it seemed to work okay, but we can certainly take that into consideration going forward.
All right.
Commissioner Brady?
Thank you. Is everything shown on the plan you gave us your part of the business? Because you have the entrance to the restaurant, 2 back entrances. You have 2 entrances in front, one into an administration office. What is that?
I'll explain. So the idea with this concept is develop something that is unique that we could replicate in a chain concept. So we will have hopefully some other coffee houses somewhere. It happens that this is the first one, and so we'll have a administration area that will handle, as we move forward. Probably everything will be handled from this.
So this is going to be your main location?
Yes.
Your corporate location, in other
Yes,
words?
for the time being.
Good, very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Brady. If there are no other questions,
Motion approved.
I'd like to have Mr. Spondilis please read the conditions of the approval.
Thank you. There are 5. Passage of legislation by the Board of Trustees granting applicable special use approval. 2, passage of an ordinance by the Board of Trustees authorizing the creation of a new Class B liquor license. 3, submission of a certificate of insurance indicating liquor liability insurance for the establishment that names the Village of Wheeling as an additional insured party. Submission of proof of Bassett certification for applicable employees. And finally, payment of associated liquor license fees.
Thank you. Mr. Brady, you made a motion?
Motion approved.
Yes, sir. Second. Second from Commissioner Lang. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That concludes our Liquor Commission hearing for the evening. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Vogel, second, Commissioner Kruger. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Liquor Commission adjourned.
6:43.
All set.
One more.
Okay.
Okay, that one's go. Okay, then we got, okay. I did that one already, okay.
I'd like to call the regular meeting for September 17th for the Wheeling Village Board to order. Trustee Simpson, roll call, please.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Vito?
Here.
Yeah, they're trustees now.
No, I called you trustee.
Oh. Trustee Papantos?
Present.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
President Horker?
Here. Just keep talking. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes this evening.
Clerk Simpson, proclamations, please.
Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2018. Violence against women and children continues to be a prevailing problem in the northwest suburbs. The problem of domestic violence affects all Illinois citizens, being not confined to any group of people, but crossing all economic, gender, racial, and societal barriers exacerbated by societal indifference. The crime of domestic violence violates the privacy, dignity, security, and humanity of individuals through systematic physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and/or abuse. The impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting families, children, and society as a whole. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men become victims of physical violence by an intimate partner. Over 30,000 orders of protection per year are written in Cook County. Residents are encouraged to learn more about the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence campaign to take a stand against domestic violence and to seek out local educational information and resources are available at www.ncadv.org. It is fitting to set aside a special time to bring this issue to the attention of the residents of the Village of Wheeling so we can all become better informed and involved in local programs to end the cycle of violence. Patrick Horker, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim the month of October 2018 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the Village of Wheeling and encourages our residents to join with the Northwest Suburban Alliance on Domestic Violence, law enforcement, social service organizations, and concerned citizens across the country to help raise the public awareness of domestic violence issues.
Thank you, Clerk Simpson. No appointments, no administrations of oath. Citizens' concerns and comments.
Citizens' concerns and comments. Members of the public may address the board with comments regarding only those items that are relevant to village business. Issues relevant to village business are defined to mean information about village events, issues that the public body has the authority to address, items listed on the agenda, and items or issues previously voted on by the village board or that the village board has the authority to consider or the vote on in the future. No citizen shall speak for more than 5 minutes without consent of the board. The village president shall strictly restrain comments and questions to matters that are relevant to village business and shall not permit repetitious comments or arguments. Members of the general public who wish to address the board must sign the request to speak form prior to the commencement of the public meeting. Ms. Wilson.
Just as a reminder to the board and to the staff, this is a time for citizens to make their comments and express their concerns, for the board to listen. Neither the board nor the staff will be required to answer or engage in debate or comment.
Pat Horker, at the September 10th meeting, you said, there have been very specific accusations against me and my family relative to the land we own, that we have intentionally completed false affidavits for the purpose of defrauding the county and other taxing bodies. The interesting thing, Mr. Horker, about the words that followed your opening statement was that none of them refuted the accusation that you intentionally completed false affidavits for the purpose of defrauding the county and other taxing bodies. You had the opportunity to refute the allegation, but you failed to do so. Instead, you made irrelevant statements about your business property being assessed every 3 years, just like everybody else. The viewing audience may not realize that the assessment department is a separate office from the incentives office at the assessor. The incentives office is the one that received your false farm affidavit. You also said that as a result of my accusations that 4 people at the assessor's office have been reviewing the farm affidavit documents in question to see if they were filled out correctly. What you failed to tell the viewing audience, Mr. Horker, is that no employee of the assessor's office can make an accurate determination of the authenticity of the statements in the farm affidavits. Only you can attest to that. And it is the authenticity of the statements in those farm affidavits that are in question here. This is why the assessor requires you to swear under oath in the presence of a notary public certified by the state of Illinois that the statements you made in the affidavit are true. Specifically, the farm affidavit states, the affiant attests that the above identified real property is currently used for farming or farmland purposes and has been so used for the past 2 years. Further, the affiant understands that when any portion of the above parcels are no longer used for farming or farmland purposes, the land will revert to its full real estate fair market value. The affiant understands that this affidavit is given to the Cook County Assessor's Office for purposes to induce, all caps it puts, to induce it to value the property as property used for farmland purposes pursuant to 35 ILCS 200/10 through 110. Mr. Horker, the parcels upon which your flower shop and auto repair shop is not used for farmland purposes. It does not meet the definition. When I look up the statute, it defines a farm as when used in connection with valuing land and buildings for agricultural use, any property used solely for growing and harvesting of crops. Mr. Horker, since the parcel identified by PIN number 0304202004 is not used solely for the purpose of farming because it has a commercial flower shop as well as an auto body repair shop on it, and therefore does not meet the definition of farm under the law, So what your family has sworn to under oath on that farm affidavit is fraudulent. The affidavit says that as soon as any portion of the named parcel is not being used for farmland purposes, that it needs to return to its fair market value. Well, that auto body repair shop is not farmland purposes, and therefore you and your family should have been paying fair market value for that parcel all these years, but instead you have been paying just over $2,000 for that parcel that similar businesses are paying anywhere from $19,000 to $43,000 a year for. More troubling still is that the name of the notary public is the same name as a woman who spends her days in the auto repair shop building and knows full well that the named parcel is not used for farmland. While your comments in response to my allegations may have succeeded in muddying the waters for the viewing audience, I believe that in the end the voters of the Village of Wheeling will rely on the truth in the documents that I am providing them, and will find you to be lacking in the moral integrity needed to fulfill your position as village president. After viewing my public comments at the last several meetings, last Friday, several Wheeling residents and businessmen reached out to me to tell me they feel your fraud on property taxes makes you unfit for office, and they have spent a great deal of money to organize a recall of your office pursuant to Wheeling Municipal Code 2.05.020 titled Village of Wheeling Recall Ordinance. They obtained an attorney to submit the letter of intent to do the recall to our village president with the village last week and had it stamped by the deputy clerk. They tell me that they have 29 days to get over 800 signatures. It is my understanding that if they succeed in getting enough signatures, Mr. Horker, will not be immediately removed from office, but that the question will be placed on the February primary ballot so that all Wheeling residents will have a chance to vote to decide whether or not they want you to finish your term of office. If the voters decide that they do not want you to finish your term, then the remaining trustees will choose which of them should finish out your term. I want all Wheeling residents to know that such efforts would not be necessary if Mr. Horker would resign of his own accord. I have laid the damning evidence of his fraud before him and have asked him to resign, but he refuses to do so. As such, this group of Wheeling residents has organized and will be setting up kiosks in various parts of town. You will recognize them by the apron that hangs from the table that says, "Recall Pat Horker." There will also be some canvassing door to door asking for your signatures. Additionally, Wheeling residents who wish to sign this petition will have a convenient opportunity at a tent that will be set up on the empty lot directly across from Village Hall, right next to the post office. Inside that tent will be folks who will have the petitions on hand for you to sign.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, that's it.
Staff reports. Director Huizar.
Good evening. Thank you, President Horker. Tonight I'd like to make an invitation to all Wheeling residents. Raising your teen can be challenging. How do you help your adolescent navigate and avoid concerns such as vaping, drug, and alcohol use? What should you be aware of as a parent of an adolescent? How does adolescent use of social media impact these topics? Please join us to answer these questions and more. We will have an informational presentation on Wednesday, September 26th, right here in this room at 7 p.m. This presentation is sponsored by Link Together, Omni Youth Services, the Wheeling Police Department, and the Village of Wheeling Human Services Department. For more information or to reserve your spot, please give us a call at 847-459-2606. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Huizar. Clerk Simpson, consent agenda.
Okay. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or other citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, ordinance declaring a surplus and authorizing the disposition of property owned by the Village of Wheeling currently being stored at 1 Community Boulevard. 11B, ordinance amending Chapter 4.32 of the Village of Wheeling's Municipal Code, alcoholic liquor dealers, specifically Section 4.32.085, to increase the authorized number of Class B liquor licenses. 11C, resolution repealing and replacing resolution number 17-126 to correct a scrivener's error related to executive session minutes previously released to the public.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Papantos, second, Trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. We have no old business. Clerk Simpson, new business. 13A.
Okay. Oh, that's what's wrong. Okay. 13A, ordinance granting special use site plan approval for sit-down restaurant at 820 Wheeling Road, Coffeessions, docket number 2018-22.
Trustee Papantos?
Did Director Jennings want to describe this first, or?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Mr. Jennings, what do we got here?
Thank you. In front of you for your consideration is an ordinance that would grant a special use to the restaurant that was discussed under the Liquor Commission agenda tonight. It is a 3,000 square foot restaurant serving coffee and wine, and we'll have a menu as well. The petitioner is still here. Before I hand it over to the petitioner, just a couple of notes. The Plan Commission did recommend approval of this item. There were a few items that have been modified since the Plan Commission reviewed it. I'll just go through those very briefly. I'll be able to answer any questions you have on it as well. There were 3 conditions of approval from the Plan Commission recommendation that were modified in some fashion. One condition of approval related to property maintenance concerns. Specifically, the Plan Commission had asked the staff to work on code enforcement for the shopping center in general. At the time of the public hearing, the Plan Commission was not aware that we were already doing that. We've had discussions with the owner of the property since that time, and they have reiterated their commitment to us to keep working on it. We have been in receipt of some information regarding their scheduled plans for maintenance of the parking lot, the trash enclosures, et cetera. The conditions of approval that were recommended by the Plan Commission that relate specifically to this unit, to the parking area around this unit, and to the trash enclosures for this unit all remain in the ordinance in front of you tonight. There were 2 other conditions of approval that were modified slightly. One related to the liquor service. We just changed the wording of that particular condition so that it made sense to us, given that the Liquor Control Commission will be meeting earlier this evening to discuss it. And then the last one, the last condition of approval relates to landscaping. We spoke with the property owner. The property owner understands that landscaping in the area, which you can see on the screen right here, will be required. However, given the likely timing of the build out of this particular unit, they requested that the landscaping be able to come in after occupancy as opposed to prior to occupancy. We thought that that was a reasonable request, and so the condition of approval has been modified. With all of that, there are now 7 conditions of approval. Number 1, the trash enclosure gates for the subject unit shall be repaired prior to occupancy. Number 2, the parking area on the north side of the building shall be repaved and restriped prior to occupancy. Number 3, the use may include live musical performances. Number 4, the business and property owner shall submit a plan to landscape the green space directly in front of the subject unit prior to occupancy. Number 5, a bike rack shall be installed on the subject property, preferably near the subject unit prior to occupancy. Number 6, a smoking area shall be designated prior to occupancy. And number 7, liquor service shall be subject to liquor license approval. And with that, I would ask the petitioner to come forward.
Thank you. Trustee Papantos, Trustee Kruger, you're next.
Thank you. My question is really for Director Jennings, and thank you, Mr. Perez. I do like your plan, but you can stay there for a minute. The parking lot in particular, when I was touring the town with Director Janik, probably right before you came through, and it was right after our heavy rain, the handicap spot was underwater. I mean, even if you restriped and repaved, if that spot's going to stay underwater, wouldn't it be more apropos to move the spot to someplace that's not, that would actually be accessible for somebody who's handicapped?
If you're referring to the handicap spot that's at this end of the shopping center closest
On the north, the farther north.
We can take a look at it to make sure that
I could answer that one. Actually,
Thank you.
the handicap ramp by law should be next to the entrance of the business. And that was something that I noticed when I was looking into the place. So I requested the landlord to move the handicap spot right next to the door, and they accepted that. So that's part of their fixing of the place. So that will be done, yes.
Great. I mean, I'm delighted that somebody's moving in and that the landlord then is working with you to get these, so that we're going to build up that area. That's great. Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I had.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Kruger?
Thank you, Mr. President. Hi, Mr. Perez.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good.
I only have one question. I saw your presentation at the Plan Commission, and there was some talk about the Innovation Kitchen. I'm interested to know more about this area. In particular, will you be offering cooking clinics for your patrons, like myself, who am a self-proclaimed non-culinary person?
Yeah. So one of the things we really want to accomplish with this business model is connect with the community. And so one of the ways of doing that is making the venue available for the community to come and see what we do and how we do it. So one example would be people might not know how coffee is roasted. So we'll have a small roasting machine in that innovation kitchen where we will schedule, because it's not like, coming and showing the innovation kitchen, but we will have maybe 1 or 2 days where people could come in and see what we do, including kids from the high school or from Harper College.
But it's mostly for your employees, it's your innovation kitchen, or is it?
Oh, it's for us. So I'm a scientist myself, and I do a lot of things in my own kitchen. I used to work for Kraft, and so I had my own lab. So basically, that lab will be to do some of the innovation that will feed into the coffee house, some like healthy living products.
Sounds great. I am very pleased with this use coming to Wheeling and look forward to your grand opening.
Thank you. We'll be invited.
Thank you, Trustee Kruger. Trustee Brady?
Thank you. Is your unit going to be on the far north end of the building?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been assured by the landlord that any paving that has to be done, the trash enclosure gates, he's going to repair them?
Yes, and we've had a couple of conversations already about that. I'm really keen about the northern part of the parking lot, because that will be some of the app we will have for takeout. Those spots will be for people who come in and to come and bring their orders there.
Yeah.
And so there is a problem with drainage. So there is a water seating there when it rains. So we need Dave to fix the draining part of that area.
Good.
And then repaving it.
Because if we give you the nod and he doesn't do that stuff, you're going to be liable for it, And I don't think you want to do that, so I would suggest that you bind this guy somehow. And the last question I have is, you mentioned here about music, live music. Is that going to be inside? You're not going to have any outside speakers?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we might have a small speaker outside, but I think the main thing is every Thursday we will have, and mainly my daughter she's a drummer. She's in a jazz band. She will have a team of teenagers.
That's good.
They will come and play 2 hours every Thursday in the evening.
I'm worried about outside noise. You put speakers out there and you don't watch it. There are neighbors to the west of you there, whether they'd hear it or not. I don't know, and I don't want any of us want to get any phone calls about loud music. So please, if you do that, keep an eye on it. As a matter of fact, you can check with Mr. Jennings, because we have a rating for the sound that's admissible. So other than that, good job.
It'll be inside those Thursday nights, jazz. Let's say in the winter, one of the things we want to have, I don't know, probably all of you knows this European way of having hot wine in the winter that they just enjoy the outside, cold.
I don't know.
And so we might have some of that, but then we will have to ask some sort of permission if that's the case. So.
Okay, thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'd be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion Trustee Brady, second Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Item 13B, resolution waiving competitive bidding and approving an agreement with Critical Uptime Service to provide component purchase and installation for the Village Hall uninterrupted power supply in an amount not to exceed $32,785.61.
Mr. Janik, what do we have here?
Thank you. Public Works is requesting that the board allow us to waive competitive bidding and purchase items for our UPS system in Village Hall here. UPS system is basically a battery backup for our electronic systems. It's a specialized piece of equipment. It's most important for the server room in case the power goes down in the Village Hall. The piece of equipment is working fine. These parts don't have to be replaced for years in between, and they're outside the bounds of where they should be replaced. There is a sole source company for this piece of equipment, and that's why I'm asking for a waiver of competitive bidding. These parts cannot be requested from any sort of electronics parts company, so that's why I'm requesting waiver of competitive bid.
Questions from the board? Trustee Brady.
Thank you. Now these are strictly for the police and fire room.
No, this is for
All the computers?
this is for Village Hall, not
Village
Police
Hall.
and Fire. Police and Fire has their own.
Okay, just for the Village Hall.
They have their own UPS. Village Hall has their own UPS. The fire station does too.
How long can these batteries keep us in operation without any outside electricity?
Approximately 45 minutes.
Are generators working properly?
Absolutely.
So it shouldn't be any amount of time before we get power again.
That's correct.
Okay.
It should be. That's correct.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brady.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion, Trustee Vogel, second, Trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Item C, ordinance authorizing a Fifth Amendment to the Restated Redevelopment Agreement between the Village of Wheeling and WTC LLC for the development of land at 351 West Dundee Road, Wheeling, Illinois, comprising a part of the Town Center 2 TIF District of the Village of Wheeling, Cook and Lake Counties, Illinois.
If I may, could we read both items C and D together, and they can be explained by Attorney Furlow as they are related?
Sure. Item D, resolution approving the amended plot of subdivision for the Wheeling Town Center, current address 351 West Dundee Road, pending address assignment of 335-419 West Dundee Road.
Mr. Ferrolo, please.
Thank you, President Horker. These two items can be taken together. They relate to the development of the learning experience that received a special use for development in the town center. This relates to Lot 6 specifically. Before you, the second item is a resolution amending, again, a second time, the plat of subdivision to create a slight bump out to the north in Lot 6, which alters the amount of parking. We don't lose parking spaces, but Lot 10, which is the overall parking lot throughout the development, is slightly smaller due to this reconfiguration of the building. So what you have is an amended plat of subdivision to allow for that development, and the Fifth Amendment to the RDA simply takes into account the amended plat of subdivision as being a new exhibit to the amendment. So this is very much housekeeping in nature, an amended subdivision as well as a Fifth Amendment to the RDA to reflect the amended subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrolo. Procedurally, will we be doing one at a time?
Sure.
Okay, do we have any questions from the boards about C?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Vogel, second, Trustee Papantos. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, and Resolution D. Any questions or comments?
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Lang, second, Trustee Brady. It was close.
Trustee Brady?
Roll
You
call.
give it to him if you want.
He gave the next one.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. No representation from,
Yeah, where's Brad?
yeah.
I'm really bummed.
Purely administerial.
I think he's getting confident there. Official communications. Clerk Simpson, you have something?
Consolidated election will be Tuesday, September 18, 2018, is the first day of petitions for the April 2nd, 2019 consolidated election can be circulated. Filing period for candidates seeking election is December 10th through the 17th, 2018. Gubernatorial election is Tuesday, November 6, 2018. If you have not yet registered to vote, there's still time. Paper and in-person registration deadline is October 9th. Online registration ends Sunday, October 21st. Please note you will need a valid driver's license or state ID with your current address in order to register. Mail ballot applications are now available at www.cookcountyclerk.com and must be returned to Cook County on or before November 1st. If you do not have access to a computer, please call 847-499-9082 to request an application be mailed to you.
Relative to the property tax issue, there are 7 different lots on the farm, exactly like Ms. Wilson said last week. We declare only 5 of them as agricultural, and of those lots, we exempt 8 acres as not being for agricultural use. It's all right there in her hands if she just reads it. Any other official communications? Trustee Vito.
September 27th is the Wheeling Prospect Chambers Taste of the Town. This year, we're going to change the venue to Chevy Chase. We're going to open it up to both the Grand Ballroom and the Devonshire Room, so it's going to be a kind of a new venue and should be pretty cool. We have a lot of vendors lined up, everyone that's been there in the past, and a few new ones. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, get your tickets, come on out. Should be a good night, September 27th at Chevy Chase.
Thank you, Trustee Vito. Anyone else? Trustee Vogel first.
And me.
Give Vogel and then Lang.
2 things. One, September 29th, I believe, is the community breakfast at the fire station here. Everyone's invited to attend it. You get the opportunity to taste the culinary skills of Mrs. Krueger and the rest of the trustees. And the price of admission is a canned good for the local food pantry. So please join us that morning from 8 to 10:30. That evening, there's a Toys for Tots being sponsored by the Knights of Columbus on behalf of the Marine Corps at the Social Hall, starting at 6 o'clock. There'll be free appetizers and soft drinks, etc. So anyone that wants to support that cause, please attend. And then last, I just got a comment. It seems like every time we have a special use request, we talk about the trash enclosure, and something's busted, something's broke up. Is there any way we can put a little pressure on waste management to close the doors? They never close them. They leave them wide open wherever they're at. I just see it everywhere I go. They're opened, and I think that causes a lot of the damage and requires people to replace parts and pieces of it. We actually had one somewhere's right next door here where the truck backed up and hooked the gate and tore it right off the hinges when he was dumping the refuge into the back of the truck with the bucket. So maybe we can just ask them to tell our drivers to please be cautious and to respect that these are, the business's property. And we require them to be maintained and to be clean and be closed. Otherwise, why have an enclosure if they're going to leave it wide open all the time? Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Vogel.
Trustee Vogel, on the Toys for Tots, is that a new toy that,
Yes,
thank you,
unwrapped,
unwrapped?
so they can identify the
Thank you.
age and et cetera.
Sorry.
Thank you, trustees. Trustee Lang, and then Trustee Krueger, you'll be next.
I just want to announce for the airport, the regular September meeting of the airport board was scheduled for Wednesday the 19th. It's now rescheduled for Wednesday the 26th, same time, 6 p.m., same location at the airport general office.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Trustee Krueger?
Thank you. If everybody got their Wheeling circular, I just want to take a second to give a shout out to the photo submitted by Kevin Gleason assuming Kevin Gleason is a Wheeling resident. There you go. It's a great photo, and I guess am I correct in assuming that we can submit photos that we might wish to have considered for a future publication?
Yes, please. It's not a competition, but we certainly solicit for residents to submit photos for consideration. It may take some time as there are only a limited number of newsletters per year. All the information should be inside the newsletter. I don't know the email address in particular off the top of my head, but it should be in there.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kruger. Trustee Brady?
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody that helped out and came to Wheeling Helping Hands Pig Roast. It was a nice success. We in the process right now of comparing costs to the money we took in, and it looks like it's going to be another nice year. So we're looking to help people along the way, and just thanks to everybody, you know. And secondly, has anybody talked to Brad Freeman about the status of the theater walls, the castings? I mean,
Andrew?
The walls for the theater are actually the responsibility of the theater. They're building the building themselves. The developer is not constructing that particular building. They put in a request just last week to modify the order of construction that we've reviewed and approved. So I would expect that the theater walls will go up shortly. They're going to do underground plumbing first, and they're going to pour the slab first. They need the slab to be poured and cured in order to set up the walls. They have to construct the exterior walls from the inside out. So they do not have enough space to erect the scaffolding on the outside of the structure. So they're doing things slightly out of order, but it's something that they did run by us.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brady. If there is no other official communications, you have before you the bills for September 6th through the 12th of 2018. We need a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Vogel, second, Trustee Papantos. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, there is no executive session tonight, so our business here is done. We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Kruger, second.
Second.
Trustee Lang. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for being here.
Bears kick off in 2 minutes.